Welcome to The Catalyst, an exciting and insightful podcast produced by Northeast Iowa Community College. I'm your host, Amy Lasik. Together, we'll explore the people, programs, and partnerships that make Northeast Iowa Community College unique. From student success stories to behind-the-scenes info about athletics, innovation, and industry collaboration, each episode dives deeper into your community's college. Get ready for an inside look at the impact of community-driven education at NICC. Hello, and welcome to The Catalyst, everyone. Today we're highlighting one of the most important voices on any college campus, our students, our student leaders that help shape the culture of the college. They bring ideas, they bring energy and perspectives that help institutions grow and better serve the people that they're here for. So in today's episode, we're talking to one of our student leaders about their experiences and what motivated them to get involved and what leadership looks like from the student perspective. So I want to welcome Dolan Geerts. Dolan is a second-year student at NICC in Piasta and is a first semester nursing student. He works in lots of different activities that we're going to talk a little bit about, but I'm super excited to have you here. Welcome, Dolan.
Hello, Amy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I mentioned you have a lot of things on your plate. So you're a nursing student. You were in the 2025 Emerging Leaders Program. You are part of the CAT team, which is the Cougar Activities team. You're a member of TRIO. You're part of HOSA, the Health Occupation Student of America, and Student Leadership Council. Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot. So I want to first learn a little bit about you and what brought you to NICC.
Well, I'm originally from Illinois. I live about an hour away from here. And my senior year of high school, I was really doing that final search for colleges. And I was talking to one of my former schoolmates. They graduated a year before me, and she was going to a community college in Iowa, and I wanted to know more about it. So I came over and visited her one day, and she was talking to me about it, and she gave me like a little unofficial tour of NICC. And I really just loved it. I felt like it was just another high school, and I loved the environment. And then I got with the enrollment advisor, and like the money, like that really just pulled me right in. How more manageable the cost is compared to a four-year university for me. And that really is just what brought me here.
Makes a big difference. Did you participate in a lot of activities while you were in high school?
I did. At high school, I was a Cats for Character advisor. So that is like a student organization where we do like behind the scenes stuff. So if we get a notification that like a student doesn't have like food at home, we go out, get some food, and then just drop off food in their locker, and they don't know who did it or anything. So I was kind of one in charge of that my sophomore, junior year. And then I was also in student council for 7 years, 3 years in middle school, 4 years in high school. I was in our SAD organization, so Students Against Destructive Decisions. I was part of that for 4 years in high school. I was also part of the homecoming and prom committee all 4 years of high school. I did 7 years of band and choir and theater, and I think I got it all.
So you've always been busy. That just
Always.
is built into you. So
Yeah.
now that you're at college, how do you balance your time with all of the responsibilities you have and going in your first semester in the nursing program?
So I think how I balance it the best is we have class for nursing from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. or noon. And a lot of things happen like right at noon o'clock to 1 o'clock or afternoon. So I tell myself, I'm like, I can do this. Let's just give my brain a little brain break, and I can just do what I like doing. And then later tonight, I'll go back and do my schoolwork. And so far, that's been working out really well. And I still get to be part of my leadership personality and helping out people and everything. So
Yeah. So you've just really figured out how to balance and structure your day
yeah,
so you can get everything done. Did you know you always wanted to go into nursing, or how did you end up on that path?
I've always had a feeling that I wanted to go into something healthcare wise. I've just always not known what. I've tossed around like laboratory or being a CNA for the rest of my career. But then watching a couple close friends and family members that go through the hospital and everything, it just really pulled me in closer. And then once I worked as a CNA back home for about 3 years now, I'm just like, yeah, nursing is what I want to do. That 100%.
That's fantastic. And I can tell already you're going to be a fantastic nurse
Thank
with
you.
just some of the activities that you've been in. And you can just tell you have a very caring heart. So that is good for the world of us that need nurses. Fantastic. So you also live on campus at the college suites.
I
So can
do.
you, yeah, talk a little bit about that experience, and has that helped being so close to the NICC campus like that?
It definitely has been helped being so close to the campus. I've made a lot of friends over here, and I found out that a lot of them are in like kind of the same area somewhere in the healthcare field for the program at NICC. And then some of them are also in the same classes as me. So I've done like study groups over here and reviewed topics before tests. And then this semester, with me starting the actual nursing program and doing clinical at the area hospitals, the day before our clinical, we go in and get a clinical prep and everything and fill out paperwork. And being so close to campus, I get to print for free being part of Trio. So that is one thing that I really like also, because I'm like, if I would be at home, I would have to buy the paper and buy the ink. Yeah, it'd only be like every 2 months, but free printing right here. I wouldn't have to wake up super early to go to clinical or even be to school at all. And I just love the environment here.
Yeah. So you mentioned Trio.
I
I know
did.
you're a big part of that. That is a very important part of NICC. You talk a little bit about your experience with the Trio program?
Yeah. So um, I joined Trio my second semester here at NICC. And I did apply for my first semester, but since I was going for nursing, I had to pass AMP 1, Anatomy and Physiology 1 first before I was able to join Trio. But once I was in Trio, it's such a friendly environment in there. If you have any questions at all, like I've asked about like tutoring, I've asked about helping with my like a interview paper or something, anything like that. They help with anything in there. And sometimes I go in there and I just keep to myself and I study in there, helps me focus. I print off stuff in there. And then this semester before nursing classes, I'll go in there early in the morning and do notes from the day before's lecture to prep for the quiz that day or anything like that. And it's always open as long as the campus is open, and they're there for the students' benefit. And I love that because there are so many resources that I didn't know that I would be using if I wouldn't have been in Trio.
Yeah, they have wonderful staff there too, so supportive of our
Yes.
students. So shout out to the Trio team. They do a lot of fantastic things. I know, I have a 17-year-old who'll be going off to college here in a couple years, and I have an older son that went off to college. And one of the hardest things was figuring out how to fit in and how to meet new friends and, just acclimate to a whole new environment. Has your involvement in all of these activities, has that helped with some of that?
Oh, it definitely has.
Mm.
When I first came to campus, I didn't know anybody, and I just basically kept to myself for the first week or two, and then I got talking with a couple of my friends who were in HOSA, and then I showed up to a couple meetings and really made friends from there, and I just blossomed after that. So just getting involved in campus really helped make my campus experience 100% better than what it would have been if I would have just gone to classes and gone back to my apartment here at College Suites.
So we mentioned that you're also part of the CAT team, the Cougar
Yep.
Activities team. Can you Talk about that. What all does that entail?
So, this is my second semester working for the CAT team as a student lead. So a couple of things that I do here on campus with them is I give tours during orientation if I'm available and free. I am How I like to put it is I'm kind of like a liaison in between the student body and like other faculty and stuff at the campus. So they can come, any students are more than free to come to me with any questions that they have. I can definitely help them with an answer or find an answer. I also help work at, like campus activities here on campus. So I believe the most recent one we did was Stuff a Critter.
Oh yeah.
So, they students came up for free and stuffed the animal and everything, and I helped make a couple decisions on, like, what animals to bring in and everything, and, we just, have a full team meeting, like, once a month we have one, and we brainstorm ideas, like, are there any other activities that we can bring to campus? Um any past activities that you didn't think went over well that we can get rid of and try to think of something new for the coming up semesters or anything like that. So just being part of that team helps create more student activities on campus. And I love seeing student involvement and students thriving outside of their classes. And it's just helped me also with a leadership position,
Yeah.
getting more of that leadership experience under my belt and everything to get ready for the workforce.
Yeah. So that sounds like a fun team to be a part of.
Oh, it's
And
so fun.
yeah, so many cool things. I know I've seen a lot of different things that you guys have brought onto campus, and I'm like, "Ooh, I want to be a student so I can stuff a critter," right?
Yes.
But yeah, you touched on it. And my next question a little bit is, how do you feel like all of these experiences are going to translate to your future career as a nurse?
I just feel like it's all gonna help me be not so like shy. I'm gonna like be right up there, be friendly, want to get involved with everything in nursing. Like if for some reason we need to help do a class or help with other student nurses once I'm working as a nurse for quite a while. I'm going to step up and have that leadership experience from NICC with all my positions here that I'm going to jump right in and just be ready to take on that responsibility and have that moral understanding of how to be the best leader I can be.
Hmm. So do you look back to the person you were when you first got here, day one, and to where you are now? And do you see that growth that you have had?
I really do. I really do. When I look back, I'm like, my very first day, it was a Thursday and we didn't have any class on Friday. So I just came over for that one class and I got to the parking lot. I text my mom like, "Hey, I got to campus. I don't want to go in. I don't know anybody here." And she's like, "You paid for the class. You got to go
Good advice, mom.
in." And so I went in and um, as I was walking down the hall, um, like all these students were going the same direction I was going, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, are there this many people in my class?" And there were, and I just went to the straight back row of the class, and I sat there, not talking to anybody, not sitting next to anybody, nothing. And then now I am like in one of the first few rows, sitting around everybody, getting involved. And I'm just like, I really have grown here on campus. And I believe a lot of it is from all these positions I've been in.
Mhm. I love that story. I mean, just seeing you sit in the back of the classroom that very first day, and now you're like totally involved and being able to see that on your own. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, where do you see yourself going after NICC? Do you see yourself staying nearby? Where are you going to go?
I'm gonna go back home and work for a few years because I did get a scholarship from my current place of employment. So I'm gonna work for them for a few years, and then I am mainly just gonna see where life takes me, and I'm gonna transfer to a four-year university and get my bachelor's degree in nursing, and then it's also kind of crossed my mind to get my master's degree in nursing. So we'll see where that all goes. And I'm just going to kind of go with the flow and see where life takes me and see where I end up.
Do you know what nursing that you want to explore?
I am kind of tossing around three different ideas. I haven't really made one final decision yet. And um, with me being on a volunteer ambulance back at home, I'm
Mhm.
really looking at the emergency room, being a nurse in there, because I love that adrenaline, high paced patient care and everything that we do on the ambulance. But we haven't done any clinical for the ER yet. I believe that's in my very last semester of my RN year.
Okay.
And then my second choice would be like a cardiovascular unit because
Mhm.
the heart, after learning that in anatomy and physiology, it's just the heart just amazes me how it's a muscle, but it never gets like tired or anything like any of your other muscles do.
Yeah.
So that's really pulled me into wanting to go into that field. And then my third one would be like a pediatric oncology.
Mhm.
Cancer has always hit close to home with me. And then I just love kids. I love everything about kids. So that's kind of why I'm looking at that one too. So I'm not quite sure which one I want to 100% go into yet, but got a couple options.
Yeah, you sure do. And so you mentioned you're on the ambulance team at back home too. How long have
Yep.
you been doing that?
I've been on there for about 2 months now.
Wow.
Yeah, I took a class last semester every Tuesday and Thursday back home in Elizabeth, Illinois, for to become a emergency medical responder, so an EMR, and that's kind of like a half step lower than an EMT. So I respond on the ambulance and everything when I'm back home on weekends if I'm not working. And trying to figure out that class last semester was still taking classes here on campus as a full-time student. That
Mhm.
was a challenge too, but it was something I was passionate about, so made it work. And yeah,
Yeah, and you also mentioned you've been working as a CNA for several years.
yep.
Did you take that during high school?
I did. I took
Oh.
a class my junior year of high school. At my high school, we have an area like kind of like an academy for
Mhm.
all the surrounding high schools, and it's called the CTE Academy in Elizabeth, Illinois. And I took the health occupations class there, and um, it was built into my tuition through high school. So in a way, it was kind of free. How I look at it, since mom paid
Yeah.
for high school, you
Yeah.
know. But we would go there every day up to the CTE Academy. It was maybe 5 minute bus ride, and we would spend about 2 hours there. We started out just learning the fundamentals, hand hygiene, proper bedside care, everything like that. And then we would once or twice a month we would go to the Galena nursing home where I work now as a CNA, and that's where we would do all of our clinicals and everything. So May of my junior year, I had my CNA license and I started working right away.
Wow. So you already have several years experience in the healthcare
Yep.
field. Yeah. So if there's a student currently at NICC or maybe a senior in high school that's looking to go to college next year, what's the biggest piece of advice you would give a new student about getting involved?
I would tell them to don't be scared, just go for it. Um, go with your gut instinct to just do it. Don't be nervous. Because that's how I was at first, and it took one of my friends to like convince me to go to a HOSA meeting, and I'm now the vice president of that, and I love it, and I'm involved in campus. So just the biggest piece of advice: don't be nervous and just go for it. You can live with, "Oh my gosh, I did all of these things," and be happy with it instead of living with regret like, "Oh, I should have been more involved in campus." You can always step back after a semester and be like, "That's not for me. I don't have time for that." But at least you tried it. So at least try everything once.
That's fantastic advice. Um, well, you are going places, Dolan. I can tell already. It is.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we do have a segment of the show, Fact or Fiction. So we've got a couple statements I'm going to read to you, and you tell us whether the statement is fact or fiction. And if you want to elaborate why you feel that way, feel free to do that. Okay.
Okay?
All right. So the first one is once a student starts a rigorous program like nursing, their life as a campus leader is over because of the heavy study load. Is that fact or fiction?
I believe that is fiction.
Yeah, you've
And
proved that.
I have. Um, the biggest part about working with a rigorous program like the nursing program and being a campus leader is just figuring out your time management. That's the biggest part. Once you figure out how you can handle all of your homework and your studying habits, you can continue being the campus leader or being involved in campus as much as you want.
That's great. All right. The second one, Trio helps students with everything from academic tutoring and financial literacy to leadership development.
I'm going to say that's fact.
Yeah.
And I've since I've been in Trio, there have been multiple different opportunities to go on trips. Like last week for the spring break trip, they went to Estes Park, Colorado, I believe, with the student life officer, the Cougar Activities team, and they did leadership stuff out there with landscaping and helping out with different other community projects and all that. And then in Trio, every once in a while, we have what's called a lunch and learn. So you go in, they have lunch. A lot of times it's pizza from the cafeteria, which is really good. Um, and one of the ones about financial literacy that they did was talking about the FAFSA, helping you complete that and everything, and that learning different like terms and how to manage money if you had any questions. So they're basically a well-rounded helping organization for any student questions.
It's great. And the cafeteria staff are really going to appreciate the shout out for their pizza. So thanks for adding that.
Of
All right.
course.
What about completing the Emerging Leaders program gives students a toolkit for their professional future?
That is fact.
Yeah. So how long was that program?
It was a full semester last year. I believe it started in January of 25 and went until May of 25. We met about once a month over the lunch period. And every time we would have a meeting, there would be a guest speaker that would come in and talk about leadership and how we can step up and handle, like, for example, um, colleague conflict or like how to just step up and act in a role if a manager was out and they asked you to just kind of watch over things or anything. Um, and it just hearing from them talk with their experiences really gave you ideas on how you could handle leadership and different things like that in your everyday life. It doesn't have to be with work or school, just anytime you have to step up and do anything in the everyday life.
All right. What about living in college suites is strictly for students who want to be close to the library for 24/7 studying?
That is fiction. Um, it's not just for students who want to be 24/7 studying. I believe we have a couple residents here at College Suites that I believe one goes to like University of Dubuque, a couple go to Clark University. I know we used to, I don't know if she's still here, but we did have one who went to Loris. So it's for any college students. And yes, it is a benefit to be close to the library like that, but it's not just for students who want to be close to the library.
Great. All right. So last one, any student can get involved and hold a leadership role on campus, regardless of their major, their age, etc.
100% fact. 100% fact.
Yes,
Yes,
everybody can get involved. That's
definitely.
super. Well, Dolan, I one of my favorite things about doing this podcast is getting to talk to students like you and really understanding kind of your experience and just it always fills my heart to know that our next leaders are fantastic like you are. So I want to wish you the best of luck. You're
Thank
going to go far. Really, really see you going far. Thank you for joining us on the Catalyst.
thank you for having me. It was a great time talking with you.
Oh, that's great. Well, and thank you all for listening. And I would encourage any students that are listening, get involved. So you can see how much Dolan really appreciates and has grown from his involvement on the NICC campus. So get involved. That's the last thing we're going to leave you with. And thank you all for listening to The Catalyst. We will see you next time. Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Catalyst. If you enjoyed the conversation, make sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Want to learn more about NICC and the many ways we support our students, partners, and community? Visit nicc.edu for more resources and upcoming opportunities. This podcast is produced by Northeast Iowa Community College and hosted by me, Amy Lasik, with executive producer Tessa Hill, producer Travis Hunt, and graphic designer Ashley Conzen.